we are right now looking at inviting Mr. Arun Ray to get on board. And thank you so very much for Arun for having been patient all this time to join us. And I also take this opportunity to wish all the attendees happy Raksha Bandhan. Hi, Arun. There you go.
Hi. How are you doing?
Very good. Excellent. Without much ado, I would rather hand this over to you. Please take it further and rock away.
Of course. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. From the morning, I have been lucky enough to kind of get into quite a few sessions, and then it was pretty nice. I mean, a lot of learning, right? My session is a very simple one, though. But thank you so much to you and then Helen, of course, for having me here. And then I thank all of you who have already attended the session. We are going to talk about something, but then, all about some basics of leadership. But then, let me just share my screen with all of you and let me know once you're able to see my screen.
Sure. Yeah. Cool.
Can you?
Yeah.
All right, great. So once again, thank you so much. I was feeling pretty excited to go for this session, and then but yeah, of course, I was very eagerly watching and listening to the other speakers, and quite a bit of learning actually. Before the session starts, thank you once again to all the people who are watching this, all friends. And then actually I received quite a few questions as well, and I promise you that I'll go back to each of these questions and try to send you my reflections, my answers. Of course, there is no right or wrong answers at this level. It's all about the the perspective. But I will definitely try my level best to do so. So today we are talking about leaders to be at all levels, right? And then I will try to kind of base on some of the storytelling and then some incidents that I will bring before all of you to kind of establish the argument that in the success of an organization, it's very important that we behave like leaders. We will try to kind of believe in this fact that leadership is not a position, leadership is not seniority, but then it's basically the belief in myself or belief in everyone themselves, that in the journey at every level of an organization or at every layer of an organization, it's important to behave like a leader, take a lot of accountability, and then take shots or calls, right? And organizations, individuals, all will be benefited out of it. So I start with a soccer story. This is a favorite story of mine, of course. The character that I'm going to show all of you in the picture, you can very easily relate to him, right? And what a fantastic football player of our time, right? You can see Leo Messi in front of you, and then you can see that he's in the jersey of FC Barcelona. He has never changed his club, by the way, right? And he's an Argentinian, of course, we know that, and he plays for the Spanish club. And then he also plays for Argentina as a captain. He's a fantastic dribbler, very skillful player. Though people kind of do a lot of argument that whether he's the greatest player of all time or it is Diego Maradona. I believe personally that Maradona is having a lot of flair, but then Messi is more impactful. I'm quite a fan of him. Look at him. I mean, he's dribbling the ball, and then there are 6, 7 other players whose actions are all focused towards him. Right? They're all trying to stop him. So this man, at the age of his 17, he rose on the occasion, and then he became quite famous in one of his game. At that point in time, he was 17, and he became a sensation in the news, and then he came in the newspaper. So when that happened, a journalist asked him a question, or many people actually kind of commented on his success, and they said that, oh, you have become an overnight success, right, at the age of 17 itself. You know what exactly he said? This is what he said. I start early and I stay late, day after day, year after year. It took me 17 years and 114 days to become an overnight success. Right? That is what he said. So he talked about perseverance. He talked about hard work. He talks about fantastic amount of commitment and contribution. So that we have no doubt in our mind that the kind of performance he has produced in this field of soccer, in this field of game, that was fantastic. And every time he went out in the ground, he believed that he's a champion, and then he behaved like a leader to lead from the front. But even then, I mean, you need to look at some of the statistics and look at this particular statistics. But before you look at the statistics, of course, three statements. A great player, of course, he behaved like a leader on and off the field. Probably the best player of our time in world's history, and he has taken enough accountability and ownership whenever he has played. But if you look at his playing statistics, right? I'm just presenting you this is the 2019 data. He played for his club, which is FC Barcelona, where he has played 720 odd games, 729 precisely, and scored 633 goals. He has also played for Argentina. Of course, played much lesser match, 138, and then 70 goals he has scored. But what is important here, what is interesting here, look at the average. Look at the success rate that he has. For his club, he's having 87% success rate, while for his nation, he has achieved around 51% success. You know why this difference is? Because every time the person appeared, he gave similar kind of effort. So I'm not saying this. The football experts believed that when he has played for the club, the supply line in the club has been much better. That means in every level and every layer, in the defensive layer, in the midfield layer, in the forward line. I'm just not talking about other great players like Neymar and Suarez who played with him, but all the players in FC Barcelona has taken their respective responsibilities and accountability so nice way, in such a fantastic way that he got a lot of space and freedom to kind of show what he can do. And that has basically made him much more successful when he has played at the club level. While he played for Argentina, I've seen quite a few. I mean, all of us have seen quite a few World Cup matches when he has played for Argentina. He did not see that kind of support present for him, or overall, probably the football history has not been able to create that kind of overall distributed leadership, right, in the Argentina team when he played for it. And naturally, the success rate has gone down. This is what the experts believe in. So when he played for the club, many leaders in different positions actually they independently took the leadership, and that is what we are trying to establish in today's quick session. That it's an intent-based, purpose-based, all-round leadership that should be present everywhere. Once again, it is to mention that a leadership is is not a position. It is the right intent, and that can be present in every layer of an organization. And that is why we said leaders to be at all levels, and that is how an organization can flourish further. This brings me to the second story which I have. Of course, I mean that's a very important in Indian history, and this is none other than the 26/11, right? We all watched it. I mean, of course, it doesn't bring any good memory. But then when you talk about the story, you really look at it. You see a lot of leadership coming out of it, right? I've been to Bombay a number of times. Of course, have been in front of the place, which is there in front of you right now. 26/11 attack was a nasty one. Of course, it looked like a total chaos. But then, yes, when you saw some of the activities, let me start with the general manager, right? Of course, he was at a so-called quote unquote at a leadership level. He lost his family members, he lost his wife and 2 children in the attack, right? He knew when the blast happened and then what exactly happened. He kind of guessed it, but then he continued to serve the guests and save the guests, right? He had to lead from the front. But was it only he? The entire organization, the entire institute functioned in a seamless manner, right? A lot of people came forward and they took their respective leadership role to bring the whole situation out of crisis. The nearby train station announcer, right? His job was to basically announce the train, right? The trains and their timetables. But then he alerted everyone to exit from the back, right? It was not only, I would say, a call of duty, but then it was a sheer leadership, which actually saved thousands of Mumbaikars that day. He asked everyone to kind of run away from that place as quickly as they can, right? There are other examples as well. I read one of the comments from one of the foreign guests who was there along with his wife there, and he said that a maintenance section staff came, and then when the firing was happening in the lobby openly in one particular floor, he basically shielded some of these guests and then actually virtually took the bullet without fearing his life. Is it not leadership? It's a great testimony of sacrifice, kind of coming in the front and then boldly facing the issue, right? Probably people could have at that level could have run away from the situation, but it did not happen. The hotel also continued to serve food for the first few hours when the attack was for the first couple of hours. Hotel continued to serve the foods. So that's another great example, right? A lot of firemen, because there were fires in different portion of the hotel, they kind of started dousing the fire without bulletproof jackets, without fearing that yes, anytime a bomb can be blasted or bullet can come and they can die, but then they did not care about it. Probably you can say that they had no choice, but then yes, they had choice. They could have fled. They could have run around. They did not do that. So basically, I'm not even talking about the policemen who covered the ground so nicely. But once again, you can see that it's an incident. It's an incident of sadness. But then at the same time, the kind of ownership, accountability, and the leadership was exhibited at every level by people who were involved. Right, that created quite a bit of help for the entire nation to come out of the crisis. So this was the second thing which was there in my mind. And today, when we are talking about leaders to be at all levels, we are talking about some of the things which the great organizations are following as of today. In our respective journey, I think we as leaders, we are also trying to create leaders. And I have seen many inspiring leaders in my life. I have seen that yes, they do not literally follow a leader-follower model, because a leader can go wrong. And if you're following a leader-follower model, then if you are wrong and you are only expecting people to follow you, of course there are situations. There are situations where you have to have followers and you have to have strong followers. And then actually we are going to answer some of those questions, as I said in the beginning of the session. That those are interesting questions, and I will reply to them. Somebody asked me that if everybody has to lead, then who will follow, right? But yeah, we have answers. There is no such clash between a leader and a follower. A person can be a fantastic leader at the same time he can or she can be a great follower as well, and vice versa, right? In fact, we have seen that the people who are great leaders in their personal life, they're great followers also. They are great, fantastic followers of discipline. They're fantastic followers of values and ethics. The rules that they create in the organization for themselves and others, they're the first people to follow them. In their lives, they are also inspired by many. So actually there is, if you're a great leader, you can be a follower too. And then if you're a follower, if you're probably at a lower level in the pyramid, right, where you need to follow a lot of organizational compliance, there also you can take lead in many things to behave like a leader. It's all about the behavior. Few pointers in front of you. So how an inspiring leader should always have this in mind. uh, Inspiring leaders' responsibility would be to increase employee engagement and commitment due to a sense of collective responsibility, right? All together, uh, the person will try to create a lot of leaders. Um, Sharing of ideas, the person will always encourage sharing of ideas and help generating new solutions for the old problems or all the existing problems. Um, Encouraging more effective and responsive decision making, and that is only possible when you make the person accountable. When you say somebody that yes, you are important to me, only then you can expect that the responsive decision making will happen. I have a 12 years old son in my home. Many a times I go and ask him that what should I do, right? When I say this, uh, it's not important that whether every time he can make decisions or he can make right decisions. Maybe 50% of the time or 70% of the time he doesn't know what to do, but then he feels important. In an organization also, it's very important that we go to different levels and start telling people that it's all about your leadership, which can can help us to kind of attain certain levels. Help to develop a greater sense of openness, and then that only can happen when a communication starts happening. If I always command that okay, I'm the leader and you are going to follow me, right? That's not the right trust building communication. They help in succession planning, and then they see the right potential in people, the inspiring leaders we are talking about, and then they create great leaders at different levels. And that helps the better network, better teamwork in different levels of the organization. When the teamwork is good, then everybody starts believing in one objective. Probably that also came as a question, that how people can see a purpose. People can see a purpose when the big picture, the right objective, can be in a very simplistic way, in a very simplified way, can be communicated to them. And then they start taking ownership and accountability, start driving, behaving like a leader. And this leaders, the inspiring leaders, they also kind of great organizations, they also kind of give people more flexible and adaptable approach to work. If you give space to people, people will naturally come out with their natural abilities, and many a times they will go beyond their natural abilities as well. And that is something that we need to look at in every organization, right? If you kind of try to always define who should do what, then people might not be able to overcome their limitations. That is what is important here as well. A lot of knowledge sharing and learning insights, I mean, inside and across departments, that also needs to happen. And inspiring leaders, they do create that for people to feel that yes, it's important for them to kind of get more and more learning, and then accordingly move in life to make decisions. That brings me to another story, right? It was a little bit of kind of pointers which I call gyan, but yeah, another story, another great example. So this is a story of USS Santa Fe, which was the worst performing fleet in United States Navy, right? And then you know what happened. Let me share that with you. So David Marquette, basically he was the captain of this ship. He took charge in his mid-career. So David, from the childhood, right, in his summer vacation, he used to go to his grandparents' place to kind of spend the vacation, and he used to go to the library where he first exposed to different leadership stories, and then he started feeling very excited about quite a bit of leadership journey of different people who he actually read. So he also started believing slowly that normally in army navy what happens, people command that okay, I'm in command, so I'm the leader and you should honestly follow me. But then number of incidents happened in front of him while he said something and people blindly followed him. That created almost a catastrophe, that created massacres. So he started believing differently. So he always started see, he considered his crew as leaders and not followers. So that is what is very important here, and why it is important, I'm just telling you that. uh, as I said, I mean, from his experience, he realized that a typical leader follower model can restrict an institution to flourish, and which is very kind of going to be very applicable to our kind of organizations as well, where we are constantly facing disruptions. The earlier speakers in different sessions, they have also mentioned the same thing, that we have to be very different. The different thinking has to come. This is no different thinking. This is already proven, right? But we have to be just cautious and keep our eyes open. David Marquette also did something, that he allowed and empowered everyone to take calls. He faced problems because of that. When people, without having much insight, started taking decisions, a lot of chaos happened. It took place. At one point in time in his career, he went back to the leader follower model also. Again, he came back, right? Again, he devoted to kind of establish this. But finally, uh, under his command, by using this technique of distributed leadership at all levels, right? What he ensured, Captain David Marquette, what he ensured, that USS Santa Fe did a fantastic turnaround from the worst performer in the fleet to the best in terms of operations as well as retention, right? In a very shortest possible time. So that is another story of kind of distributed leadership. And then what we are kind of, why we are going through all these stories and why we are listening to all these great incidents, because of few things. What we are trying to say while summarizing the session, it's going to be very intent based, and I would say very purpose based. Somebody asked the question that how do we again show the purpose to our people? Purpose is nothing but seeing the big picture. Purpose is all about that by doing my work, what I'm how I'm helping the organization to achieve its own objectives. That's the purpose. That's why I'm here. So end of the day, when I go home, I used to go home. Last 5 months I'm not going. I'm kind of at home only. But then yeah, when that situation comes, still when end of the day you log off, right? You feel what you've done, right? All of us do that self-reflection, and I completely believe and a firm believer that yes, the purpose that I have in front of me, that keeps me running, not the sheer amount and the quantity of work, right? And it is definitely not one person at the top, right? Sometimes leaders are very firm believer that everything is my responsibility. I'm sorry to say, it's not the philosophy. It should not be the philosophy. The philosophy is that it should be distributed, where a lot of people will come together and kind of it's a team, right? And then take the responsibility, and that is how the entire journey will happen. Yes, for giving the direction, for holding some of the governances, compliances, a person can be there. An organization have to follow certain hierarchical level, but then at the same time, it is definitely not one person who is going to make the difference. It's not possible, right? And it is especially seen that it is something like wearing the jersey of your national sports team. You see that something is very which you should honor. You should make that should make you feel proud, something like that. It is important to make people feel that they're going to handle something, they're going to be responsible for something, which is a very fantastic pride giver. And then um, something that they will be feeling bigger than themselves. So for example, if I wear a cricket jersey or a football jersey for my nation, it is definitely something bigger than myself. So that is something which is going to be very essential, and that is the feeling which probably we need to give our people at different levels in the organization. And we are talking about the organizational performance to go up. My purpose of sharing this with you is exactly same. I felt that yes, it would be good that if we can just ponder a little bit on this. And yeah, the purpose of sharing this presentation with you and then sharing my thoughts and reflections with you was just that in our journey we should be focused enough that in our respective responsibilities also we can take a lot of ownership, accountability, behave like leaders. And when we are in mid-senior level or we are actually trying to build the next generation, we should be careful about spreading that fever to all, that yes, taking responsibilities and accountabilities, behaving like leaders help the organization. Back to you. Thank you so much.
At all. Thank you so very much, Arun. That was fantastic. I know you've got plenty of questions, and I'm not sure how we're going to respond to all of them, and probably on
I will respond to all of them.
Excellent. I'll leave that to you, and I appreciate
Sure.
you joining us, Arun. I enjoyed a lot about your presentation, especially when you started talking about Messi, because I'm a huge fan. So I think he's the best, and I agree with you absolutely in that area. Thank you so very much. I just want to very quickly make a